Picture Madagascar. Right now, you're probably imagining lemurs, rainforests, or the Madagascar movies. But 70 million years ago, Madagascar looked nothing like that. Back then, it was a hot, semi-arid island, prone to long droughts and sudden violent flash floods. It was isolated from every other landmass on Earth. No animals could get in, no animals could get out, and the animals that were already there, they just had to deal with it. And dealing with it is exactly what one particular predator was very, very good at. The animal we're talking about today is the Majungasaurus, named after the province in northwest Madagascar where the first fossils were found back in 1896. Now, the Majungasaurus was a theropod, meaning it was a two-legged meat-eating dinosaur, and at first glance it looks kind of wrong, like someone built a predator and made a few questionable choices along the way. The Majungasaurus measured around 7 meters long, that's about 23 feet, and weighed over a ton, so it was a big animal to say the least, but the same cannot be said for its arms. Its arms were absolutely tiny. The Majungasaurus had 4 reduced fingers on each hand that were so short and underdeveloped that scientists still aren't entirely sure what, if anything, they were used for. The skull was short, wide and blunt-snouted, which is unusual for a predator, and sitting right on top of its head was a single rounded horn made of bone. Just one horn placed right in the middle of its forehead. Scientists actually spent decades confused by this horn, and in 1979 they found a fragment of it and thought it belonged to a completely different type of dinosaur called a Pachycephalosaurus. It wasn't until a complete skull was found in 1996 that they finally figured out that the horn actually belonged to the Majungasaurus the whole time. The Majungasaurus belonged to a family of dinosaurs called the Abelisauridae. The most famous member of this family is probably the Carnotaurus from South America. The Abelisaurids were basically the southern hemisphere's version of the Tyrannosaurs. Big, stocky, and top of the food chain predators. Except the Abelisaurids had their own very specific style of doing things, and the Majungasaurus took that style to an extreme. The question is, if the Majungasaurus had tiny useless arms, stubby legs that weren't built for speed, and a weirdly short skull, how exactly was it the apex predator of its entire island? The answer comes down to what it was hunting. The main prey of the Majungasaurus was a dinosaur called the Rhepetosaurus, a giant sauropod. Rhepetosaurus fossils have actually been found with bite marks on the bones, and those bite marks match the teeth of the Majungasaurus exactly. So we know for a fact that the Majungasaurus was feeding on these animals. Now, hunting a sauropod is not easy. Rhepetosaurus was big and heavy. So what the Majungasaurus seems to have done is bite and hold. The lower jaw had flexible joints designed to absorb the stress of struggling prey. The neck was built with interlocking ribs and hardened tendons, making it incredibly strong and resistant to being thrown around. Scientists have compared this hunting style to the way modern big cats hunt. The Majungasaurus wasn't the slashing and retreating type like many other theropods have thought to have been. And the thick, powerful legs make complete sense in that context. You need strong legs if you're going to stay attached to a multi-ton animal that's doing everything in its power to shake you off. Now here's where Majungasaurus gets truly interesting. In 2003, a study was published that confirmed something pretty remarkable. The Majungasaurus was a cannibal. Researchers found Majungasaurus bones with tooth marks on them, and those same tooth marks match the teeth of the Majungasaurus itself. The Majungasaurus is currently the only non-avian theropod for which cannibalism has been confirmed with hard fossil evidence. Now, was the Majungasaurus actively hunting and killing other Majungasauruses, or was it just scavenging the bodies of animals that had already died? Honestly, scientists still aren't completely sure, but the environment gives us a big clue. During a bad drought, food becomes scarce, rivers dry up, and prey animals die. And when there's nothing else left to eat, apparently the Majungasaurus was not above eating one of its own. It's actually not that unusual in the animal kingdom. Komodo dragons do it, crocodiles do it, and some species of frog do it. When resources run dry, cannibalism becomes one option on the table. The Majungasaurus just happens to be the dinosaur we caught doing it in the fossil record. The Majungasaurus didn't live on a normal island. Late Cretaceous Madagascar was genuinely one of the strangest places on Earth at the time. It has been cut off from every other landmass on Earth for tens of millions of years, and when land is isolated like that, animals evolve in unusual directions. The result was a cast of animals that looked like they came from a fever dream. Rhepetosaurus was there, the big sauropod we already mentioned, which served as the Majungasaurus' main food source. Then there was the Masiakasaurus, a small theropod about the size of a large dog, which had bizarrely forward-pointing front teeth useful for snatching fish, but honestly still pretty strange to look at. There were frogs bigger than cats that would actually eat small dinosaurs, not to mention there were also giant crocodiles and snakes. None of these animals were found anywhere else on Earth at the time. Madagascar had been doing its thing for so long that its entire ecosystem was basically a one-of-a-kind experimented evolution. The Majungasaurus was the undisputed king of all of it. The Madagascar survived right up until the very end of the Cretaceous, 66 million years ago, when the asteroid inevitably hit. It ruled an island of evolutionary nightmares for 4 million years and stood right up until the end. I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, let me know your thoughts in the comments. And I guess that's about it. See ya.